Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wealth Frequency event. Today, I have a really special guest, Laetitia Martos. I think I didn't say your second name right. But she is a French voice of freedom and truth, and she mentors Sigma leaders, those that don't fit into the mold, and she teaches people how to lead, create, and live from radical truth. And today we are talking about the art of leading from truth, from performance to presence, a new paradigm of leadership that redefines success. So, Leticia, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
So
Thank you.
happy to have you. So let's just dive straight in. So you have actually built a six-figure business without calls, without schedules, without compromise. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've done that and what can it teach us about freedom?
Oh, well, so I think my answer will be very easy, to be honest. And it could be one sentence answer. 9 years ago, when I became a mom,
Mhm.
my inner voice went very loud. And I decided at that point to listen to that inner voice and to obey without questioning, without asking any more information about it, just listening inside in my inner truth and act as quickly as possible because I am a deliciously different brain. So that is to say, I'm smart. I'm going very quickly, and my brain is so quick that if I give my brain a mission, it will go like this. But my brain is about security and fears, while my inner truth is about soul mission, is about heart leading mission. This is two different things. So 9 years ago, I signed a contract with myself and I told, look, for only 1 year, only one in my business, I'm alone in my business. So if I do a mistake, that's pretty much my responsibility. So that's okay. For 1 year, I obey to the voice, to my inner voice. And life went crazy good because the more I listened to that voice, the more this voice was coming to give messages. It was not always comfortable. When I speak about it, it's like, wow, this is the frequency of miracles, of magic, and not every day. I listen to the voice and I act as fast as I can before my head, my brain takes over. This is the only thing I do. I listen and I obey to my inner voice. And for example, my inner voice, like 3 years ago, told me, look, you are not meant to talk with people. You're meant to talk to people. Ooh. But at that stage, I had a coaching business and I had a digital agency. So for marketing and communication. So I was talking with people every single day, every single hour. And I was like, oh, uh, why, how, when? Like I didn't know how to obey, but I say, okay, I accept the mission. Let's see what it brings. And in a few weeks, I converted all my business to something very new I couldn't have ever imagined, with no calls, no Zoom, no appointments, no agenda, and a higher income. Like, how? I don't know how, but I listen to the voice.
Yeah, and that is such an inspiring story because I think a lot of us are not fully honest about what we want. We try and see what is possible plus what is better for us right now. But we're not saying, oh, I would love to have a life full of freedom where I can, So you have that life, and that is from listening to your voice. Would you say the voice is your intuition, your higher guidance? What do you think it is?
I have analyzed it in 9 years. I had time, to analyze the situation.
Yeah.
First, I think it is intuition.
Hmm.
For some people, it's called gut feeling as well, intuition, gut, etc. This intuition, I think, is something you can use every day in your personal, professional life with friend relations, your house, apartment, belongings, everything. And you cannot do any mistake by listening to your intuition. And there is something else. I do this because this is a bit deeper. And there is something else. I call it the deeper knowing, the deep knowing. This is a sentence you have always had in your mind for 10, 20, 30 years when you were a child. And this sentence begins like, I have always known that blah, blah, blah. And when you listen even to your friends, your client, your spouse, your husband, or even your children, and you say, what do you know for sure for so long? And this is a deep knowing, and this deep knowing came with you. You were put here for this. And this deep knowing is so big that sometimes you're like, oh, but I'm just a little tiny human. I don't know how to have this. I don't know how to act to have this. And I think the more you listen to your intuition, the more and more and more, the more it will be building for you your deep knowing without you realizing that you are building it. And when you are here, you're like, oh my goodness, I couldn't have done it alone. But you did. You did it alone by listening to the voice. Like, this is some stairs.
Yeah, that is, yeah, totally, absolutely can resonate. I don't think I've listened. I think my next thing is to listen completely to the voice because sometimes it can be hard, especially when you have a business and then you need to transition deeper into what the voice is saying. For you, when you had that digital marketing agency and you had clients and you had to move quickly, did you just stop everything or did you transition?
I I know that as my brain is very fast, if I take time to think about it, my brain will think about it. And my brain is like thinking in stars. So if this happen, if this happen, if this happen, if this talking too much. So what I do is if I put some time to think about it, I won't think about it. I will fear it more and more and more and more. And at one stage, it's like, oh no, finally, maybe this was not the voice. And I will even think I was wrong, you know? So I do it very quickly. So, for example, in August, 3 years ago, I had this voice. I was in my garden, and the voice told me, you are meant to speak to people and not with people. I remember exactly the place in the garden I was sitting, and I was like, oh, I could have do that. And it was August, and in France, because I'm French, in France, in August, the world stops. Everybody is in holidays. Nobody works. I don't know how it happens, but this is like this. And all my clients were French clients. So I was like, okay, what do I do? So I called them one per one and I said, look, this is August. I am fully available for you. If you want, instead of having our calls like every 2 days, 3 days, every week, depending on the client, what about me being fully available? And when you are available, you send me a message, a voice note, whatever you send, and I will work on that. The first client, he was paying me like 10K per month, huge contract. And he told me, oh my God, thank you. Ah, thank you. Because my wife told me that if I was working during the holidays, she will be very unhappy and blah, blah, blah. The second client, oh my God, thank you. Because I was trying to fit our call in our holiday schedule. It was very difficult. And at that stage, I had 8 one-to-one clients. The same day, the same day, they told me, oh my God, thank you. I was like, okay, I couldn't have imagined this. Like never, ever. At the end of August, beginning of September, I asked each of these clients, how does August, how did August go for you? What do you think of this format? 8 clients, women, men, different ages, different contracts, different schedule, everything different. They all 100% told me, oh my God, this was the perfect month for me and for you. Like, I don't know how to say, but can we stay and work like this in September or until the end of the contract? And this is how, in a few weeks, because just August is 4 weeks. So in 3 weeks, I switched my entire business to no calls, no Zoom calls, etc. And in September, I asked my clients when they were doing vocals notes or etc. to me to be in movement. They were not allowed to be seated. They were not allowed. And they began to send voice notes by doing bicycle with their kids, by gardening in their farm, by doing something with their dogs. And in October, all their business like blew up. I would have never, never, ever with my brain thought about it. Never, ever.
Wow. And what was the movement about? Like how what because I'm really interested about, their voice noting and movement and then their business blew up. I think that's an important piece. What is it about the movement?
Because in August, I realized that there were on holidays. Holidays for entrepreneur is a full concept. So
Yeah.
they were working while in holidays, but they were in movement because they were with their children, they were with their family, they were, in traffic, they were like driving. And
Mm.
each time they were like, oh my God, Laetitia, I've got something for you. Sorry, there is a lot of noise in the back, but I can't stop. I need to tell you that. And
Mm.
blah, 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 blah. And I realized because I had 8 clients one-to-one at that stage, they were so different. Doing activities like not linked to each other, some in mountains, some in beach, some in and they were all in movement. For the first time, they were not seated in front of a screen, they were doing life. And
Mm.
from my perspective, it was the same because I was listening to them with my headphones in the garden. I was in the swimming pool. I was in the river listening to them, and I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. And very connected because I was listening to them when I was fully available for them, not because it was 3 o'clock and we had that appointment, but because I was fully available in my head, in my feelings, in my own body. And it opened something giant. And that is why in September, because I were back to like home or to work, I asked them to do something in movement. So to do like walking or to go with their dog or with the children to the park with their children. And their business became part of life instead of having one business, one family, one husband, when each of these things were reunited in life.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I absolutely love that concept because I think I've been asking, one of my questions is how do we do business and like transition to new paradigm? And one of the things is time. So I love that you said that because there's some restriction around wanting to be free, but then still having calls. So you have like actually illustrated that perfectly with your experience. So thank you. And then another thing that you talk about is the difference between leaders performing and leaders creating from truth. So can you tell us a little bit about that difference?
Oh, yes, of course. I have always felt a bit different, not because I look different. Well, I'm a bit tiny, but this is all, very tiny. But because I was thinking in my head something, and when I spoke about it, people were like, ooh, as if I were coming from another planet, like, ooh, this is not possible here. And I remember in business, when 12 years ago, I opened my first business, people around me told me, oh, Laetitia, you hate phone. I have never answered a call. Never, ever. I hate the phone. And they all told me, oh, now you have a business. You must answer the phone and answer the calls. And I was like, but why? Because you have a business. And I was like, I don't see the link between me having to answer the phone and me having a business. And people like were looking at me in their eyes. I was seeing that I was not getting the thing. And for a long time, I was seeing people making links between very different subjects. And I was like, okay, for me, these are very different subjects. I don't know why people have linked these together. And in in general, we are educated in our academics, but in our family, especially women, with a leadership I call the alpha leadership. The alpha leadership is beautiful woman or man going first, looking for the prey to feed the other, and this is the first going and the other following. And for 40 years, I said, I don't want people to follow me. Like I'm doing my path, and I would love people shoulder to shoulder to follow theirs, but not mine, because mine is with my truth, with my criteria, with my values. So how someone could follow me? Like, for me, this is very difficult to understand. And one day I went through the definition of Sigma people, Sigma man or woman, which is a different kind of people who are doing their path alone. They don't need to belong to a group. They, they want to belong to their truth. And at that stage, I say, oh, okay, brilliant. I'm just not an alpha woman. That's okay. That's okay. I'm different because w- generally this is alpha, brilliance, and everybody want to be an alpha. And here I have something new. I'm like, okay, I don't need to belong. I don't need to be bigger than other. I don't need to elevate my voice. I don't need all that stuff. I need to be true to myself every single day, which is very difficult. It's easy and difficult at the same time because we were educated like alpha. And at that stage, I changed everything inside me, saying, look, now I want to do my path, but I want to have people shoulder to shoulder to do their path. And I can help doing their path, but I can't help in mine because mine, I'm alone in mine. And there I created the entire Sigma leadership, which is not leadership from outside. Leadership from outside is I am the proof, or I need proof before acting. In the Sigma, it's like I don't need to prove to anybody because I am already right, because my inner truth speaks for me. And I don't need to look for proof outside because I am already the proof. Because if this truth came to me, it's because I have to do it. I don't need to look. I don't want to. And I will go not first, but I will go for me first. And the Sigma leadership is in reality self leadership instead of leading others. It's leading yourself. Does that answer?
Yes, absolutely. I really, really love that. And I can resonate with it because I didn't want to do social media when I started my business. And everyone was like, you're not going to be able to create a business. And I absolutely have through my community on, my email list. So we actually get to make the rules. Like it's not, we don't have to, we don't have to fit into these boxes. We can say to the universe, I want this, but I'm not going to do this. And I feel like the universe really says, okay, and gives you a way, you know? Yeah. And that's how I started doing events because that was the way to do that. And it just came to me because I made that declaration.
Yes, and you know what will come to you is very different that what will come to me. And for example, with your event, every single day since the first time I received your email, every single day I'm like, oh my God, this is so much work to organize such an event. Because, uh, of course, for me, it appears like impossible to do because this is not my truth. This is yours. And when we are taking as entrepreneur ideas or concepts from the outside, especially by scrolling social media, we are taking the truth of others. And then this is very difficult to go back to ourselves to forget, because we can't forget, to forget what we have seen and go back in our inner world and say, what do I want? Because sometimes the voice is little tiny voice with a low volume. So the first thing I do with my client is please stop social media for 21 days, just to go back in your
Yeah.
own frequency, And yes, so there is no rules.
Yeah, I love that. And it leads us on to your exercise that you're going to be leading and your free gift, which is the art of decision making. So, can you
Yeah.
tell us about that?
Yes. So I think that in self leadership, we have like 10 stages to deploy, to obey to our self leadership. And the very first is to know what to do. Because, saying, oh, yes, I have a little voice, I listen to my voice, etc. Okay. And then what? So I listened to my voice. I remember one day my husband stopped working because my business was having enough revenue for him to choose. And 4 days before him leaving his job, my inner voice told, you are done with that specific client. That specific client was a friend of mine, smart guy, very engaged, and paying 10K per month with a 3 year contract. 4 days before my husband leaving his job. So I listened to the voice, okay. And then what? You need to know what to do then, And I think the very first step to self-leadership is knowing how you are taking your perfect decision.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't depend on your brain. It depends on your design.
Yeah.
And this is a very little tiny exercise, but this is very, very profound, and it will help for your entire life. Like in every domain, it works.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I can't wait to experience this. So I'm going to pin you and hand it over to you, and then I will come back when.
Great. So for the exercise, you just need this and a paper. That's it. I won't do it on my computer. To be sure, you will take one sheet of paper and one pen or pencil, because your brain will remind perfectly if you write. If you do it on your computer, if you do it on your iPad or tablet, it won't work, because your brain is making connection when you are moving your hands and when you are seeing what you are writing. And also, having what you feel inside outside in your sheet of paper will change everything, because you are saying that you lack clarity. In reality, you don't lack clarity. We lack faith and sometimes courage, but we never lack clarity. So, first, on your paper, you will put the date. This is very important to put the date. So you put like 23rd of November, December, whatever. You put the date. So you will remember, because life is changing a lot. So if you lose this paper and you found it again within 3 months, you will remember that is your reality on this specific date, not forever. Very important. And then you will draw a line. Okay? So you've got a line here. And at the end, you will put your own age. So I am 41. Oh, yes, I am 41. And I put here, not at the very end, because you won't die tomorrow. So you put a bit of life here. And then at the very beginning, you put the age you remember. So for example, for me, my first souvenir are at 4, 5. But it depends on your education, it depends on your own traumas, etc. Some people don't remember before 8, 12, 14, whatever. You put your first souvenir. And then here, this is called my lifelines. You will put here the different experience you had in your life, the big experience of your life. So for example, I get married at the age of 30. And for me, it was a very beautiful moment. Sometimes your marriage is not a good experience. Okay, so for me, for example, it is a good experience. I was 30, so I put my age, 30 years old, and I put here a cross. And I put here marriage, just to remember. Okay. For example, you experience someone you were very close to, a friend, and this friend, for example, had a very difficult experience in his or her life, and you remember, for example, depression or anxiety or whatever. And for you, it was a very bad experience. You put here, and you put, for example, Lily, depression. Okay. You can put also if someone very close to you died, but if someone died, maybe it was a very good experience. I want to be very clear on that. There is no links between marriage and something positive, between death and something negative. Loneliness is positive or negative, I don't know. You have to remember how you felt in that big experience. And if you compare, you won't, but if you compare yours with mine, maybe the death of someone will be very positive in my short and very negative on yours. And then, for example, you will do, oh, I remember I had my diploma or my certification or my bachelor, my master. Oh, I was so proud. And it was even better than my marriage. It can be because it was very good. So you put here, for example, very high your master, let's say. Okay. And then you will have a lot of cross in your drawing. Some here below and some very high. And then you will link all the crosses. Okay? And first, you will see some little cycles in your life. So between 30 and 35, oh, I had a lot of bad experiences. Or when I was a teenager, oh, I didn't remember, but it was hard for me. Wow, a lot of bad experience happened at that moment. Or very high, high, very low, low. It will depend on each of you. And what we want, of course, after realizing this cycle, is knowing how you took all the positive decision. So you will take all the experience that are very high or high positive, and you will ask yourself, how did I take this decision? For example, in my drawing, how did I take the decision to do a master in digital marketing? Especially because at my age, it was not even a thing. Nobody was talking about it. 20 years ago, like nobody. How did I take this decision? And sometimes it will be difficult. You will say, I don't know, but I was sure. I don't know, but something inside me told me to. Or maybe this is not marriage for you. Maybe this is divorce. And you're like, I know it will be difficult, but I knew it. I had to take this decision. It was for my life. You will have sometimes difficulties to put a real word into that. I will help you. It can be called intuition. It can be called gut feeling. Something in my belly. Something in my heart. something in my solar, my plexus, and take a bit of notes. So, how did I get this decision? This one, this one, this one. And you will find that you have already a process since you were a child to take decision outside of your head. This is the intelligence of the body, of your soul. You know already what is good for you without knowing how you know. So everybody wants to believe in magics, believe in faith, believe in fairy tale. Of course, because you have already the fairy tale, the intuition, the magic inside you here. And if you want, just if you want, you can do a third step, which is how did you take the decision for the negative experience? And here you will know how to not take the correct decisions. And this is sometimes this is very helpful because if you're watching today, it's because you want to take a decision, but you are not sure. You were not sure neither when you took all this positive decision, but you took it. So be aware if you want to take a decision in the next hours or days, if you don't know how you took your positive decision, at least you know how to not take this decision to be a negative situation. For me, for example, I'm calling it intuition. For me, this is a little tiny voice speaking only one time. And this is low in volume. That is to say that my voice will say, no. For example, I had a very good client one day. He wanted to work with me. And my inner voice was like, no. I was like, are you kidding me? This is a genius. He's a smart guy. His company is great. But the voice doesn't speak, in my case, doesn't speak twice. So if I say, are you sure it's a no? The voice won't talk again. Oops. So I have to act and to remember what the voice said and to act pretty much in the now. For example, for yourself, it could be, oh, the voice was louder and louder and louder until the point I couldn't do something else. Maybe it's perfect, it's better. So you will have your own design on how you take the correct decision, and you will remember how to not take the false decision coming from ego or from mental. This is my little genius decision-making tool.
Ah, Leticia, thank you so much for that. I was doing it as well. And the decision, like when I made the good decisions, I just wrote one line. I knew this was meant for me and I loved doing it, or I knew this was meant for me and I came here to do it. So every time I did something out like wild, I just really knew. I really, really knew. And it like kept coming back. You said yours comes once. Mine kept saying it's actually quite loud, so that's quite good. And then the negative decisions is like when someone told me to do it or what everyone else was doing or what I felt was supposed to be doing, that always led me astray because I feel like I'm here to just like you said like Sigma, like just do my own truth. So that is so, so powerful. So thank you so, so much. It was life-changing. I absolutely, this is one of my favorite exercises that of this whole event, actually. Um, and you actually have this, the free gift, which is the art of decision making as well.
Yes, and in my free gift, you will begin by this tool if you want to catch again on that. And then there are three other tools to complete your decision making because we are not built exactly the same. So you will take four exercises in total, and you will take the tool that is more likely to help you in the current situation, and your brain will remember the others to take other decision in 1 month, in 3 years, in 2 days. So there are a bunch of tools to make great decision, not with your head. So this is not like a list of positive points and negative points, but to know what's happening inside you when you're taking decision. This is life changing. I love that. I could speak about it every single day.
I love that. So we put the link down below and also Leticia's website. So you can also be in touch with her and see what else she's up to and the work she's doing. But I just want to thank you so much, Leticia, for being here with us today.
You are very welcome. Thank you for the invitation, and I really hope it will help because it changed my life. And I see with my clients they are changing, and I am here for big impact, and especially for men and women, like to listen to our voice. I think that in our world we need more soul-led people. So going together will do a much more beautiful world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.